Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Daze and welcome to today's opinions video. These are your thoughts, your theories, your opinions. We've had nearly 50 responses, so we're going to have to get straight into it. Obviously, lots to talk about with this week's show. King and Queen of the Ring, the QR codes, a very deep QR codes, and just lots of other talking points. So with that being said, we're going to jump straight into it. We're going to get your thoughts, your opinions. We're going to start with Brad's. He said, loving the QR codes, especially this week. It was really hyping up more than ever. I would have liked to have seen Elia win, but I understand why he didn't. I'm liking everyone telling Drew he is delusional. Kofi and Gunther was a banger. Overall, 7.8 out of 10 for me. I think that's a very good rundown, but ALG said, I'm looking forward to what happens on Thursday. Yes, so in the QR code, it seems to point to Thursday, and we will do a live watch along. We will do a stream on Thursday where whatever's going to happen, we will be here for it. We'll probably start about an hour before, and I'll tell you now, my plan is that when we get to 4 o'clock Eastern time on Thursday, we're going to click that link and we're going to hope that something happens. If it doesn't, then we'll have a little look at a few places on Twitch. We'll have a little look on social media. There'll be mass panic in the chat as we fear that we're missing something. We'll all probably have breakdowns. It's going to be a hell of a time, but hopefully that door will open. The link will work in this week's QR codes on Thursday. So come and join us as we find out. Then Purple J said, this first time commentary called it out. Yes, so the commentators did react to the flicker on screen. That does feel big because they're not going to keep doing that for ages and ages and ages. And so now it does feel like we're getting closer to the return. So that does feel like quite an interesting moment. Drifty said it was a really good episode of Raw. Regality said the most important thing is that despite being so rich, this time Michael Cole and Pat both acknowledge the QR code is interesting. Will they acknowledge the Nightbird song next? Hard to acknowledge it when it happens like during commercial breaks. So that would mean that we'd have to do the Nightbird song during the show, and we could totally do that. We could absolutely do that. You know, we could have the lights kind of going and we could have the Nightbird song playing. Before we had like someone dressed in a rabbit costume that were in the audience. They were actually sat behind the commentators. Someone did point out there was a sign in the crowd last night that had the birds and the Pluto logo on it. So we may already see signs being brought into the crowds. Could have been a fan. Could have been someone planted there by WWE. Not sure about that sign last night. But as we said, you know, we are starting to see things progressing. I'm feeling very confident, as I'm sure many of you are. They will arrive at King and Queen of the Ring. So Blaze Wrestling said people turning on Jey makes no sense. It made sense that Jey, who they are pushing as a top star, beat Dragunov, who is in his third ever main roster match. JT95 said they need to start pushing the QR code story along now. It's been happening before Money in the Bank. Before Money in the Bank. It's been happening kind of since WrestleMania, really. I mean, at WrestleMania is where we got the documentary. And then I can't remember the first time Nightbird played, to be honest with you. Was that the Raw after WrestleMania? I mean, it certainly feels like we've been doing this for a good month, you know, so I don't think it was long after WrestleMania at all. It could have been the Raw after WrestleMania where we first got a clip of the Nightbird song being played. And then, of course, very quickly it led to QR codes. So, yeah, we've been doing this for a little while, but I think we feel like we know when the end is coming, and it's about 11 days. John Elite said, okay, Raw, not upset that Elia lost to Jey. Maybe they do Elia Gunther in Berlin. Did they say when the tag titles and world heavyweight title matches take place? No, not to my knowledge. I remember Damien saying, if you want a shot, you can have a shot for the title. And so even commentary after seemed a bit confused as to whether it had been accepted, because I don't think Drew actually said, yeah, I'll take that. He kind of threw that out. If you want a title shot, I'll give you a title shot. So of course now it's going to lead to a title shot, but nothing has been kind of made official. I've not seen any graphics or anything like that for it. So I think we're all expecting King and Queen of the Ring, though. 11 days out, it would be a bit strange to do it anywhere else. Although what I would say is that Go Home SmackDown is normally treated with quite a bit of, you normally get the odd title match on there, for example. I seem to remember them doing title matches on the Go Home Money in the Bank show in London. I think it might have been for the tag titles. So, and we've done like Intercontinental and United States title matches on the Go Home shows for pay-per-views. Obviously, Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal has moved to the Go Home show. So those Go Home shows do tend to get maybe something. So I can't really say about the tag title matches as to where that one's going to take place, or some Truth Against Judgment Day. But I would imagine it won't be next week's Raw. I'd imagine it'll be the pay-per-view. But they do like to save some stuff for those Go Home SmackDowns. Right. Matt said, I think that Drew versus Damien is just building for Clash, as it's under 5 weeks away. They announced a match, and that would help boost tickets. Well, I don't think... I mean, he could turn around and say, yeah, I'll take that title match, but I want it at Clash at the Castle. I mean, he could say that. But it is still so far away. It would be strange for him to delay it and not just do it at King and Queen of the Ring. Surely he would have confidence in himself that he can win the title anywhere in the world. And surely he would love to walk into Scotland as champion. So I think that him delaying it for Clash at the Castle would be fine. I wouldn't have a problem with it. But I would be surprised for him not going for it now. I'd be surprised for him not getting that title match at King and Queen of the Ring. Just Paige said, I think it's interesting. Still speculating on it. Are we talking about the QR codes? I think we're probably on the QR codes. Howdy said, I know for sure there was a jumbled up word for Firefly Funhouse, but it will be really cool if somehow they get the Fiend involved, like it finds a new host. I'm really much more into the Fiend returning. Damn, Bray Wyatt really made me fall in love with that horrific character. Brian said, I love the QR codes. I thought this one was awesome. It gave me vibes of like a secret Russian code message. So many details in the QR codes. I love puzzles like this. It's a lot of fun, but really confusing for me to understand. Well, we're all kind of struggling with that, to be honest. I think it was hard for me doing the live stream, trying to chat with the chat, watch the show. Obviously loads of updates coming through as people are finding things on Twitter, having a little look at stuff myself, like spinning all of those plates. I'm sure people can see is not the easiest task. It's not the hardest task in the world, there are brain surgeons, but it wasn't like the easiest of times. So I think that it's very easy to kind of go, okay, hang on, where did that number come from? How did that connect to that? Where did you find the image properties? You say it was in tags. At one point I was under the impression that each picture had 2 messages because I was getting a bit confused. So it is very difficult to kind of keep on top of stuff, and certainly when you've got other things that are going on. But that's why that Nightbird video that went out on my first channel, it's quite long, but I really do try to walk through it rather than run. I really do try to go, right, you see this here, you see how that connects to that, and you see where this was found. And because I was in that kind of head state as well, where it wasn't quite making sense. So hopefully people enjoyed that video, and I know that people were like, you're taking too long at times, But it's like, yeah, but we don't want to, no man left behind, you know. There's kids and people that really do struggle with this stuff and don't want to just run ahead and kind of leave them behind, you know. Plus also I'm slow, so. Right, Jay said, it was good. I hope that Jay wins King of the Ring, and the QR code was good for the blonde hair. It could be Liv or Alexa. I think it might be Alexa, but her hair had pink as well. The other thing I'd say there is that the woman that was apparently kidnapped, she had blonde hair, so I don't think we can rule her out, because that whole article is about this woman going missing, and in the picture she had blonde hair, and apparently these notes were found in her apartment. So is it a case that it's her blonde hair? I think she has to be a third person that's kind of in contention. Ethan said, it was really good, but Jay defeating Elia was the right move. I don't want to see Elia Gunther at Raw. That right there is a PLE banger. I thought that Lexi would return. Today's QR was the one that makes me really think, and I will speak for all of us when I say that Lexi is in it. Well, don't speak for all of us. Because we're not sure. I think the blonde hair could be that missing woman. And I've seen a lot of people saying that the flooring is actually different if you compare it to Alexa's. If you look at Alexa's wooden flooring, it does have kind of gaps, grouting or whatever, in between the floorboards, right? Whereas this person's floor didn't have that. The floorboards are just perfectly fitted together. So people saying, look, wooden floorboards in Alexa's place and wooden floorboards here. It's a great spot. But actually, if you dig into the detail, which is what we love to do, you can see that the floorboards are different. I've seen people going, yeah, but it could be a different room. It's like, okay, well, it could be a different house. So I don't know, man. For me, I don't know. I mean, I feel like Alexa is going to join further down the road. I think that she is penciled in for SummerSlam. I don't expect her to be with this group at King and Queen of the Ring, but, you know, what Tom Colohue said was that she wants to portray this character that Bray was working on for her. Now, whether that means that she has got her own separate path, or whether she will link up with the group at a later date, we're still not quite sure. So, I don't know. For me, we're keeping our mind open on this. We're keeping our mind open. Watson said, after this episode, I really don't know what we will get at Clash. Drew versus Damian, Drew versus Punk, or a triple threat. I'm excited for either, as I will be there. I may go with a Drew shirt on and with a Punk one on underneath. Watson, shout out to you. That's very cool that you're going to be there, buds. T-Money said, I really think the 12-12-12 means 12 days till May 25th. I did save this because I did try to do an unseen video last night, but it was so late after I'd gone through my notification. My plan was go through my notifications, make sure I've got everything and I've not missed anything, and see where we get to. By the time I did that, it was like lunchtime. And I did try to start recording a video, and it became very apparent that it just wasn't going to happen. My first problem was my computer told me that my memory was full. So I was like, oh man, I'd just done 20 minutes as well. And then it just stopped recording because it said my memory was full. So I've copied all the files over and I've freed up like 100 gig. So I should be fine for a little while again, but that was very frustrating. And I kind of got to that point where I was like, you know what, this ain't going to happen. So that's why we didn't get a chance to do an unseen. But this would have made it, this 12-12-12. I think 12 days till May 25th yesterday was a good shout. I don't think personally the 12-12-12 is that, but it could also be an indication of that. It could have two meanings. I just think Eric Rowan joining the Wyatt family on the 12th of December 2012, 12-12-12, Eric Rowan, who's in this group, joining up with the family. That's too much of a coincidence for me. That's too good to ignore. And plus also, why repeat it 3 times? I think that date is definitely was there to be found. But the 12, as we said, could have a double meaning. It can also mean 12 days till King and Queen of the Ring. Harry said, I hope you're well, Daze. For me, this campaign is better than White Rabbit now. The quality of these are just brilliant. I just wonder who they return for at King and Queen of the Ring. I'll say within the main event, has to be based on the importance of the teases. Thoughts? I don't think they necessarily return for anyone. I think if we look at what happened with Bray coming back, he didn't come back for LA Knight. He just came back because coming back was the right thing for him to do. And I think this group existing is the right thing for them to do. And, you know, we've got to kind of flesh these characters out. We need to be introduced to them. We need to know how they communicate and interact with each other. So for me, coming back, going straight into a feud, that's not something I'm looking for. Granted, we can maybe learn some things by them being in a feud, and people certainly are not going to want to wait as long as what they waited for Bray to get going, right? So we can't delay it too much, but I don't know about them coming back and attacking someone. I think why not just end Cody Logan, have Cody win, or however you're going to do it, right? And then the lights go, and then boom, we do the presentation, and they're back exactly like Extreme Rules. Why are we abandoning that? Why are we thinking we're not just going to do that again? As we said, when Bray came back, the crowd reacted, and it was Bray's moment, and this will be their moment. They're here. Who are they attacking? Who are they going after? Why are they back? Those are the questions that can be answered on the following shows. And plus, we have to be introduced to all these people. That's going to take time to kind of know about these people, know their mannerisms, know how they interact with each other. What world do they live in? Do they live in like a funhouse world? Do they live in a Wyatt Swamp world? Like, there's a lot of questions that need answering, so I don't know about them coming back and attacking Logan Paul or anything like that. That's not really what I'm thinking. Doesn't mean I'm right. I'm just thinking if we base it on Bray Wyatt, he came back and just came back after a match and had his own space to breathe. And I think we may do the same here. So those are my thoughts. Vetrix said it was a very good show. Never Nends says, another amazing QR codes. I'm now glad they kept going past Backlash. The fact the QRs happened during the show mean I won't bother clicking them. I'll just watch analysis videos after. If they happened at the very end, then I would engage differently. Yeah, I don't know. I wish they weren't as early, to be honest with you. I wish they was. We spoke about this before. I think I would be interested in having on the show a tease for a different time. They kind of did that this time. You know, it's kind of crazy. That's what they did. You scan it and you got a picture that said, go to Twitch on Thursday, right? So they sort of did that, but they also put in tons of other stuff as well. So for me personally, I think it would be better if they did this, gave you that one picture, right? And you can still put some in the image properties, right? But if you had one picture and the door, not all the other pictures as well, and it says Thursday, 4 p.m., you know, then that you know, we don't have anything, no shows on a Thursday for WWE, so we can spend all the time in the world just talking about it, digging into it, and it doesn't take away so much from the show. This one kind of did that, moved it to Thursday, but was too rich that it actually like took up the whole show as we were looking into stuff anyway, you know? I don't think, I mean, I was still looking into it hours after Raw had ended. I'm still looking into it now. There's still things that I don't think have been found now. So, yeah, it was really rich. It was, if you're going to drop the QR codes during the show, it's going to derail anything that follows unless you make it less, you know, engaging. But people don't want that. They love how deep and rich these QR codes are. So it's very difficult. I would be tempted to move it to a different time. I would be tempted to interrupt, you know, something on the WWE network or interrupt NXT Level Up right? I mean, why not drop it at the same time that AEW is on, right? You can kill two birds with one stone. Why don't you drop it on a Wednesday at 8 o'clock Eastern? That way you've getting your rich QR code out there, but you're also distracting a load of people from AEW. Hey, it's business. It's business, isn't it? So I'm surprised they've not done that, to be honest. I'm surprised they haven't tried to distract a load of wrestling fans on a Wednesday night and clogged up Twitter talking about Uncle Howdy and QR codes rather than people talking about whatever's happening with AEW. So just a thought. Right, Rico said Otis has lost his smile. That's true. Raw was 79 DX chops out of 100. I think I've lost my smile. I'm in a we don't deserve nice things kind of a mood. Oh, mate. I want to go on record to say that Rich Holland's music is a banger. Def Rebel, do your worst. So we got a GIF here, an old school GIF of Shawn Michaels. And it's always great to see OG Shawn. Look at that. Look at the old new generation WWE, WWF logo. Love it. Love it. The memories. Eric said, Raw was extremely long tonight. I can't take Jey Uso serious because of the yeet. And here, look at this. Wrestling fans since day one said, winning the King of the Ring tournament, yeet. Anime Fiend Zeno said, it's the best QR code of all time. I like the idea of these messages. I think all of the 6 members here write their own message, not just howdy. I think the blonde hair is Alexa. The flaw is much like her flaw in the tweet. Nando said, very impressed with Damien's promo. Love EO and hope she wins it all. I know I'm in the minority, but Jey is a cringe fest for me because they are waiting for Gunther versus Elia. I'm questioning if they wait for Bianca versus Jade too, but I would still be in Saudi, so maybe not. Feels unpredictable. I agree. I've really enjoyed this tournament. Sometimes what you can find is Big Star against Jobber in the early stages, and then it gets good later on. But this thing has been good from the start. I think the matchups, like, I really enjoyed the matchup of Nia Naomi, for example, or AJ against Orton. You know, those are in the first round. Then, obviously, now we're getting our teeth into the next round, and we're getting things like Elia versus Jey, which... You're not wrong for whoever you want to cheer for. I mean, I wanted Elia to win because if you're going to make me choose between the two, I prefer Elia. Jey, to me, is one half of maybe the best tag team we've ever seen. I think the Usos are maybe the best WWE. It's hard because there's a couple of names that are screaming in my head right now. Yeah, Dudley Boys are screaming, and Legion of Doom are screaming, but a New Day are screaming. But I don't know, man. I think the Usos might have done it. I think they might. What else could they do? They've got longevity. They've had all this success. They've main evented WrestleMania. I think it's one of those where there's a lot of people around right now that we're really not going to appreciate until they've gone. You know, if the Usos aren't around anymore, then we'll look back and I think their stock will just rise, keep rising because of what they've achieved. So I love him. I got all the time in the world for him. But as a singles guy, with the match quality that I've seen from him, certainly him and his brother at WrestleMania, even him against Damien at Backlash didn't set the world on fire. I think that, for me, he's an amazing tag wrestler, but his singles matches are not getting to that same level, whereas Elia is one of my favorite wrestlers. I mean, I love the guy. I've loved the guy for years. So, for me, there was no doubt as to who I wanted to win. I understand why it was Jey, but it doesn't change that I wanted Elia. So... yeah, I can understand it that people find Jey a bit cringe with the yeets and the arm thing. You know, people have a go at Seth for his entrance. You know, you hear all the time Seth's just an entrance these days. And the same is being said of Jey. But he is over. You know, people do love Jey. He is fun. He does have a personality. He is charismatic. I don't know if you saw his interview with his son after... He's very likable. And do you remember when he went to the ice hockey with Jackie and CM Punk? Like, the guy is really likable. It's just that there's maybe a few areas that you'd like to see tightened. And I think it's just hard for him. He's been a singles wrestler pretty much his whole life, and now he's having to step out on his own. You know, there's no tag that can be made anymore. So I think we have to give him that kind of adjustment period, really. And yeah, you know, I don't have anything against him. I just, of the two, I wanted Elia as well. Right, Ian said, I think the QR code is the most interesting yet. I thought that Raw had some great matches. Your mama's Kuta said 100% the right decision. People long for Jey to finally have a big win, but then they started complaining when he beat Elia as clean as a flute. As clean as a flute? I've not heard that. They gave Jey what they wanted. It's a very big win. People are stupid. So, well, I'm going to go back to what I said. I wanted Elia to win. I'm not bothered about Jey getting a big win, to be honest. For me, if we're going to have him as a singles guy, then I'd like to see him go and get a mid-card title or, you know, go on and achieve something. But I think for me, if you've got to pick between the two, I'm picking Elia. Elia, for me, is so intense, and I know people are saying he's only just arrived, he's not buried. I agree with that. I don't think he is buried. I don't think a loss to Jey is a disaster by any means, but it comes down to who would you prefer, who's your favorite of the two. My favorite of the two is Elia, so I wanted Elia to win. So I think for some people it's not quite as deep as this. I think for some people it's who do you prefer. Right, Logan said, Daze, great Raw. My rating will be 9.2. I want to see EO Sky versus Jade because it's the first time ever match. EO getting a stellar match as per usual. I'm still surprised. I wanted them to push EO back to the world title picture. She deserves a title run where she actually defends it. I don't like Lyra. So there we go, Logan, sharing his thoughts. Shout out to you, my friends. Right, Melanie said it was good, but I'm confused about Carlito. Has he joined Judgment Day? Can you answer? Well, I don't think he's officially joined. I think that he is just allowed to hang with them. A bit like, do you remember when JD was kind of in the process of joining? He wasn't brought in immediately straight away. There was a bit of resistance to him, and eventually he was made a proper member. He got given the jacket and all that stuff. I feel like where we are at the moment is that Carlito wasn't even allowed in the clubhouse. Like, Damien didn't even want him around, didn't trust him, didn't like him. I think he proved himself by helping Judgment Day secure the victory in the tag contenders match, and I think that has now eased tensions. I think he's now allowed to roll with them. He's allowed to be around. There's still definite tensions, but, you know, it's not like he's going to get his head bitten off if he's kind of around. So I feel like the defenses are coming down, but him now being a fully blown signed up member of the Judgment Day, I didn't get the vibe that we'd gone that far. It just felt like, you know, you're going to have to handle your business if you want to roll with us. And I think that roll with us is if you're going to be hanging with us, kind of coming around with us, not welcome to the Judgment Day. I think they would have made a much bigger thing out of it if he was now a full-blown signed-up member. David said, Raw was pretty good. Good matches. Didn't really seem to drag at any point for me. And I'm loving heel Gable's story. Pro Wrestling News said, amazing Raw. I'm going to rate it 9.15. Jey beating Elia was the right call in my opinion. Gunther Elia match is a big PLE level match. Talking about QR codes, now I'm not solving any puzzles and only watching your video, which included almost every solved puzzle. The reason behind this, I'm more excited now to watch Wyatt 6 in WWE. Pro Wrestling News, shout out to you, my friends. Yeah, we really tried to include everything. There was only one thing I was annoyed with after, because it's a near 50-minute video. And I spent hours after going through my notifications. I didn't have time to do it before the video. If I'd have gone through all my notifications, that video would have gone up like lunchtime. And I really wanted to catch a few people before they went to bed. And I felt like we had you know, I was seeing a lot of the same things, but I really wanted to make sure on this, so I really put everything into it. And then there was one thing that got missed, and as soon as I finished recording, I realized that it had been missed. And it was just the Cinnamon thing. The Cinnamon thing in the source codes. So it says Cinnamon, which I believe connects with Nina Simone, and I think that it is to do with potentially teasing Judgment Day, right? It's a very interesting story, actually, and I think that's one that I will touch on in Unseen. So there's a kind of interesting backstory to it, and it's got a lot of like religious kind of connotations and vibes. So yeah, definitely one that we will touch on in Unseen. That was the only one I was like, God damn. Everything else that I think was pretty much in there. Gaz said, really hope Liv doesn't seduce Dom. That mullet-muzzy combo is the worst combo in the history of all things. Can do better. Sam said, another great show. Io versus Shayna and Kofi versus Gunther being forgotten about already, and they were both amazing. Glad that Elia Gunther is being saved for a bigger occasion with more builds. Sad to see people turning on Jey, but the crowd love him, and that's what matters. Again, I can only come back to, I think it's just who do you prefer, and it's not 100% on Jey, is it? It's not going to be 100% on any wrestler, really. So, you know, you're always going to have people that are going to root for the other person. I think with Elia, he's built up so much love, so much respect in NXT UK and NXT. He's come in with a little army behind him. So I'm an Elia guy. So I really wanted Elia to win. I'm seeing this same comment again about saving it for a bigger premium live event. That doesn't seem at the moment to be what the plan is for Bianca and Jade's. I mean, it seems like Bianca and Jade may meet in the next round, and they might do that on a SmackDown. So if they're willing to do that, Elia Gunther is smaller than that. Bianca Jade is a much bigger match than Elia Gunther. I actually think Elia Gunther is a banger of a match, and if you did it on TV, it would open people's eyes to, oh my god, this Elia guy, he almost beat Gunther, or he did beat Gunther. Like, it would really open people's eyes to this guy. So I think giving them that taste, because a TV match is always going to fall short to a pay-per-view match. So giving them the taste and then doing the match at a premium live event further down the road, I would have had no problem with that. I think you could have done Gunther Elia on TV. I mean, it doesn't matter now because we're not doing it, but you could have done it on TV, opened some eyes, given people a taste, left them wanting more, and then give them the match a bit further down the road. I think you could have done that as well. But as we said, it's not happening. Congratulations to Jey. And does he go on to be King of the Ring now? Victor said, Jey winning was the right move, but it wasn't done the right way. Gunther Elia should have a proper build and not be so early. Elia shouldn't lose clean. Maybe a Kaiser interference. Isaac said QR code was interesting, as always. A lot of hidden stuff in there, like always. And overall, this week's show was solid again. Feels nice to get fresh matches every week. Something you wouldn't see under Vince. I think Triple H is doing a hell of a job, as always. Maverick said Kaiser should have cost Elia the match. Jey winning was the right choice. Jey has something to prove when it comes to him and Gunther. He lost against Gunther for the IC title because of Jimmy. With Elia, you can play into a storyline of did Gunther make Elia do it, or was Kaiser protecting Gunther? Huh? Hang on. With Elia, you can play into a story of did Gunther make Elia do it, or was Kaiser protecting Gunther? I don't get that bit. Remember Elia dethroning Gunther for the UK title? Yes. He's a threat to Gunther winning King of the Ring. This would lead to a match between Gunther Elia at Bash at Berlin. Whilst then, you're also giving Jey a shot to prove himself. A clean win was a terrible choice. Interference could have led to a story like this. Maverick, I don't get that one bit, but the rest of it, I got it. Missy said, except for the 2 matches Gable booked, wasn't a bad match all night. Every match had something really good in it. I'm ready to take Gable out myself after how he cheated Otis. That triggered the throat puncher and eye gouger in me. I'm willing to go to jail for Otis. I think he's got this effect on women, hasn't he? He's got this effect on women, Otis. I don't know how he does it. But do you remember he was hanging around with Mandy? He was hanging around with Maxine. Now he's got Missy ready to throat punch and eye gouge. So I don't know how he does it, but he's got this amazing effect on women. It's his puppy dog eyes, in it, when he was being mistreated. It's good. It's a good story. Austin, hello, said, sad to not be getting Gunther Elia, but I get it. They want fans to grow on Elia more, and they can do it another time with more builds. Bash in Berlin is coming up. That would be a good place to do it. Raven, I hope you will. Raven7131 said, confusing, almost felt like filler. Nita Nitro said, I thought it was one of the strongest yet. So much I think we've missed with it and others. This one had so much information with leads in to things yet to come. Thursday is going to be interesting if we can figure out where to go. That's true. King James said, loved it. We Are the Woe Movement said 7 out of 10. Enjoyed the JD Carlito stuff. Knew they'd avoid Elia Gunther for now, but Jay's win was still a bit shocking. Don't know why. Heel Chad just steals the show whenever he is on screen. Jeremiah said, I think it's interesting and very cool to lead up to the big debut and showing creepy stuff, and that builds the faction that is going to be formed. King Sympathy said, I'm very excited for whatever is happening on Thursday. The 20th link shows the date 5/16/24. So I'm hyped about this. And the show was fantastic. Plus the crowd was on fire tonight. 9 out of 10. Gio the Theo said, I thought the show was great. I'm honestly surprised how many people thought Dragunov would win. But I'm honestly hoping they aren't doing Gunther Dragunov yet. I want to see Gunther Orton. I want to see Gunther Dragunov at Bash in Berlin. Sea Lord said, I enjoyed it. They should have had Elia go undefeated like Gunther for a while. Build him up. Then could say to Gunther, no one beats me. So my question to you, was it a bad idea to put Elia in the King of the Ring tournament? I don't think it was a bad idea. I think that you have to remember a lot of people don't know Elia. There's a lot of people that don't watch NXT UK, we know that, and there's a lot of people that don't watch NXT. There's a lot of casual fans that are only interested in the stars. They're not interested in watching the stars develop, right? Come back to me when you are a star, right? Come back to me when you've worked it out. There's a lot of people that are just busy, go to work, the wrestling's on, yeah, I'll watch the wrestling, I haven't watched this in a little while, where are we, who's this? You know, there's a lot of that. So Ilja Dragunov means nothing to them. So you've got to get him on TV. You've got to get him in matches that matter, really. Because if he's just going out there with jobbers, like, I don't know, is he going to be able to show what he can do? We're already sort of doing that with Bron Breakker. Do we want to take that route with Elia? So I think putting him in the tournament and putting him in matches that matter, putting him in, like, I mean, he was in the main event of Raw. He main evented Raw, right? Granted, he might have only done it because his opponent was Jey, but he main evented Raw. It's hard to be down on that. It's hard to be down on him being featured, you know. Ask Cameron Grimes, who couldn't even get on TV. So, to be perfectly truthful, I think we have to take the dubs. We have to take the dubs. He's on TV. He's in matches that matter. He got included in this tournament when, you know, there's people that didn't even make the cut, right? He could easily just be sat in catering right now as they focus on other people, but he is being featured, and that to me is the most important thing. So he's being featured, he's in main events, he's putting on really good matches, you know, the message is slowly getting out. Could they have kept him undefeated and all that? Sure, that's a direction you can go, but you don't always have to go that direction. It's not the direction you always have to take. I think showing that he's a warrior, he's a fighter. I don't want him to suffer too many defeats. I don't want him to get a tag of being an underachiever and all that kind of stuff. He is the underdog, right? But yeah, I mean, him losing clean to Jey, I wasn't keen on, right, to be honest. I think that if you look at how much training Elia puts in, he's putting out training videos where he's like doing just the most insane exercises, just the most insane workouts. I mean, to beat this guy, I feel like you have to go to a place that you wouldn't go to. I think this is part of the problem why the loss bugs me, because to beat Elia, you've got to go. It's a bit like trying to beat Gunther. If you're going to beat Gunther, you're going to have to borderline destroy yourself to achieve it. And I feel the same with Jey. He would have to borderline destroy himself in order to beat the Mad Dragon. And it came quite comfortably. I mean, there's a post-fight interview with Jey where he's not banged up or anything. He's with his son and he's like, let's go to Waffle House. And it's like, nah. You just had a match with the Mad Dragon, man. And he is known for pushing people to their absolute limits. So I don't think it's a problem that he was in King of the Ring. I think the bigger problem for me is if you're going to have Jey win, he needs to... I don't even know if he should be able to walk out the ring after. It might be that we have to get, like, medics to scrape him off the mat. And that, for me, is the bigger problem than... That's the bigger problem than Elia losing. If he's going to lose, that he needs to lose, and it needs to be a big deal. And this just... It was the main event, so it was a big deal in that regards. But Jey just seemed to walk out and then was doing a post-fight interview and went to Waffle House. And it's like, nah, that doesn't sit right. That doesn't sit right. That's the bit that's stuck in my throat. Negan said, we're definitely getting closer to the debut. It's possible that this is telling us the puppets have been let out. Also, the URL is 12-12-12, and we're 12 days from King and Queen of the Ring, says Negan. Jill said, very interesting QR codes. Did you see my theory on dates? I said, did I like it? If I did, then I saw it, because as I said, I went back through my notifications. No one else is on this channel but me. So if you get a like from the Wrestling Days account, it's me. If you get a message from the Wrestling Days account, it's me. So yeah, it's a case of I said, did I like it? She was like, yeah. So I saw it. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it was thousands of notifications that I got during the show, because people really want to share what they're finding. So many people are looking and they don't really know where to put their findings, and it does feel like there's a few places now that get tagged consistently in like, this is what I found, and I so appreciate being included that that's why I went out my way to make sure I read them all. So I read them all and I liked them all and responded and, you know, kind of acted accordingly. And obviously you get an awful lot of repetition. I'd say 95% of it is stuff that I've probably already received. But I still appreciate it because there are those gems in there that I didn't get sent before. So it's so appreciated. So yeah, Jills, if I left a like, I saw it and it was appreciated. William said, Daze, I was staring at Trini's boobs the entire time. I know I should be grown up and not stare, but I am a weak, dirty, pervy man. I responded, we know, buds. We know. So there we go, William. Shout out to you. Have we got any quoted tweets? No quoted tweets. I'm not looking for quoted tweets. It's absolutely fine for you to pop the comment down here, but I always want to make sure that we've got all of the comments, and it looks like we do, and it looks like we have, and massively appreciate the support. I hope you enjoyed this video. It looks like it's going to clock in at about the 45-minute mark, which is a little bit longer, but people are super engaged with the QR codes. So hope you enjoyed this. Really appreciate the support as always. Obviously, we'll be back with NXT, Wrestling Escape Pods, we will be back with Unseen. And, of course, on Thursday, we'll do that special live stream as we try and figure out what the hell is going to go on. So very excited for that. Thanks for watching. Appreciate the support. See you next time. Bye for now.